Hi, everyone. My special guest today is Jake Shier. Jake was another one of my former accounting students from Santa Monica College. We first met when he took my Principles of Accounting 2 class back in spring of 2015. I know that's many, many years ago. After he finished his classes at Santa Monica College, he then transferred to Berkeley to major in political economy. But besides studying that major, he also took a lot of accounting classes in Berkeley's Haas School of Business. Today, Jake is working at Ernst and Young, also known as EY, one of the 4 largest accounting firms in the world in their tax practice. Now, if I could use one word to describe Jake, it would be inclusive, the word inclusive. And I say this because I don't use this word very lightly. I say this because when Jake was in my class, he was always looking for ways to help out his classmates. I recall he announced to the class on multiple occasions that he was forming study groups, and he encouraged everyone in the class to join him. He definitely helped make my class a very welcoming environment. And that's, to me, is very, very important. Jake, it's been a long time coming. I'm glad you finally have time today to do a video with me.
Definitely. It's been a long time coming. Thank you so much for having me. It's always great to reconnect with you, Professor Liu.
All right, let's get started with my questions. Now, you currently work for Ernst and Young's San Francisco office. Can you briefly talk about your company and why it's a great place to work?
Definitely. So Ernst and Young's my first job out of college. As Professor Liu mentioned, I transferred from SMC to Berkeley. The reason why I chose EY, and you'll hear this answer a lot from different professionals, was the people. And to expand on that, the quality and the quantity of the people that I met throughout the recruiting process fit with who I felt like I wanted to be learning from and working with, and not just working with, but spending time with, getting drinks with, that kind of thing. So the people to me were my kind of people, very down-to-earth people. And my experience through the recruiting process was consistent as an intern, and then eventually starting, and now almost 3 years with the firm. The people have been what's kept me there. Like I said, the type of clients that we work on and the type of people that I work with is a unique type of combination that I really have been appreciative to grow and learn with EY.
Yeah, my next question is this. Now you're currently a senior tax accountant, and I should let my viewers know that there's different tiers in terms of position. When people first graduate and get their first job at the firm, they start off as an associate or staff. And then after that, after 2 or 3 years, they get promoted to senior. And then after senior is manager, and then there's senior manager. And after senior manager, there's director or partner. Your current position is a senior tax accountant. What is a typical day like for you working as a senior accountant? What type of work do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Definitely. So my day-to-day is different day to day, and it kind of depends on the time of year and seasonality. So I started in this as a staff in what's called the DSG, the Diversified Staff Group, which is another reason why I chose EY, which I believe is unique to EY compared to the other firms. They allow staff to work within all the different subservice lines within tax. So to break that down, there's EY Private, which is high net worth individuals, as well as closely held businesses, mainly partnerships, as well as trusts and estates. There's the corporate tax group, which does a lot of provisions, as well as corporate tax returns. There's the real estate group, there's state and local, and there's the international tax group. There's a few others floating around, but a lot of what I focused on was corporate and EY private, so high net worth individuals, estate, trust, closely held businesses. My day-to-day really depends on what time of year it is. So I might start the day working on a partnership. I might end the day working on an individual or a corporation. There's all sorts of ad hoc sort of work that will come at us out of nowhere. So a day is never really typical for me, I would say. But in the fall and in the spring, there's a lot of compliance work. So preparing a lot of tax returns leading up to March and September 15th for the partnership deadline. There's a lot of partnership work. Followed by that, there's a lot of trust compliance that's due March 30th and then extended through September 30th. And then all the individuals and corporations are due April 15th and then extended through October 15th. So during those times of year, doing a lot of compliance work. But in the summer, in the winter, there might be a lot of billing or administrative work that comes along with doing the tax work.
So when people first graduate from college, again, it takes you start off as a staff or an associate. It takes 2 years before you are promoted to a senior. And after senior, there's manager, and then there's senior manager, and then partner or director. So I wanted to ask you, when you transition from the staff or associate position to the senior position, can you share with my viewers what were some of the challenges now that you now face from moving to now a higher level position?
Definitely, there were plenty of challenges. So as a staff, you spend 2 years getting really good at preparing tax returns and preparing workbooks and doing the kind of work on the ground where you're really just focusing on, building it from the ground up, essentially. And you're not, you're asked to self-review, but the level of scrutiny that you have when you send your work up to your senior isn't as great, or the expectation of the quality is not as great as when you're a senior sending it up to your manager. So as you mentioned, there's the staff, senior, and manager positions. So one of the things that I found to be a bit of a struggle the first year as a senior transitioning into the new role is now you're going from as a staff, you're having to manage your own time, which is difficult in itself because you're so busy, preparing lots of work, but you're also having to manage up to your senior and making sure that, you get your work to your senior in time. So that, whereas when you now switch to a senior position, you're still having to do that. You're still having to manage up to your managers and your senior managers, partners, but now you also have to work with your staff and make sure that they're learning and having to manage their time as well. So that's a bit of a more difficult learning curve, having to, determine how long is it going to take for a new staff to do this work, that they've never done before, and budgeting your own time to teach them and coach them, but as well as taking the time to review tax returns, review work yourself, and of course get it up to managers. And when you do send it off as a senior to a manager, there is a higher level, there's a higher expectation of the quality that you're going to be sending out. So it's just a bit of a transition. You get really good at preparing work, and then you have to transition to reviewing work, and managing up and down, opposed to just your own time and up.